Almost 30 years later, and look at us still asking probably the biggest question in hip-hop history: who killed Tupac Shakur and why? And honey, we have heard everything at this point. Gang beef, revenge, record label drama, secret deals, Diddy, Suge Knight. Everybody has been invited to this story except the actual truth. Tupac was only 25 years old when he was killed. 25. Yet the man has been gone almost 3 decades. The world is still playing his music, and people are still fighting over what happened that night in Las Vegas. But now Keefe is actually heading toward trial, old interviews are coming back, voicemails are being dug up, and some very familiar names are getting dragged right back onto the table. And would you believe Diddy's name somehow found its way into the conversation again? Shocking. Somebody alert the newspapers. So grab your magnifying glass, because we're separating what we actually know from what people have been whispering for almost 30 years. And trust me, some of these whispers are loud.
A little bit of contradiction here, because originally they asked him in the interview, how much money did you ask for? And he says, we wanted $1 million. But then later on in the same interview, he claims that it was Sean Diddy Combs who brought up the sum of $1 million. And then he laughs about it, saying, you know, guys from the projects would have done this for $1,500. Like, I wouldn't have said $1 million. But we had that interaction that he claims took place between him and Sean Diddy Combs.
Who brought up the amount of $1 million?
He did.
Puffy did?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it you?
No, it wasn't me. I was $1 million. I take it for 50. You know what I'm saying?
So he brought up the $1 million.
Yeah. Them project dudes are killed for 1,500.
Now, I'm going to say it probably 1 million times throughout this episode. Sean Diddy Combs has repeatedly denied any involvement in the death of Tupac Shakur. He's currently incarcerated on transportation for prosecution on 2 counts, and he was cleared of RICO and sex trafficking, but he's never been charged in relation with this crime, and he has denied over the years. So Keefe claims that he has that private one-on-one conversation with Sean Diddy Combs where he's offered money for this hit, and then it's communicated that that money will basically go through Eric Zip Martin, who was the kind of go-between Sean Diddy Combs and Dwayne Keefe Davis. He introduced them. We've heard about him a few times already. We heard about him actually from the beginning in opening statements. And then they ask him during the recording, did Biggie Smalls have anything to do with this? And Dwayne Keefe Davis says, no, it was all Puffy.
Yeah, seems like Puffy won't be getting out of jail anytime soon. I mean, let's be real, the word has been on the streets for years. I was still going to school when people were already saying Diddy ordered the hit on Pac. That rumor basically watched me grow up. But hearing it on the streets is one thing. Now we're hearing the same stuff by law, in court. Like, excuse me, Lord Puffy, as if you didn't already have enough problems waiting for you.
And one of the connections that Dwayne Davis gets through his association with Zip Martin is with Sean Puffy Combs, who was then the CEO of Bad Boy Entertainment.
And did he ever respond?
Yes, he responded, no, we'll take care of it. Something like that.
On August 18th, the Tupac trial exposed Diddy's involvement in the passing of Tupac, explaining his relationship with the main suspect, Keefe D. A viral reaction read, if all of this is being exposed on day 1 of the Tupac trial, I can't wait to hear this thing fully out. 50 Cent wasn't lying about Diddy being involved. It literally sounds like Keefe D was Diddy's go-to guy for anything security or handling street-related acts, man. We're 5 minutes into the trial, Diddy was exposed.
And one of the connections that Dwayne Davis gets through his association with Zip Martin is with Sean Puffy Combs, who was then the CEO of Bad Boy Entertainment. Sean Combs wanted some security when he came out to the West Coast. He was worried about Mob Piru. He was worried about the members of Row Records. And so Dwayne Keefe D. Davis agreed to be around to act as unofficial security for Sean Combs and his artists when they came out west.
Before we move forward, let me give you a quick recap of what's going on with this trial. And WHO said what? Because honey, everybody's talking now. And you know how I feel when people suddenly find their memory 30 years later? Cute. So let's get the names straight before this mess gets any messier.
The trial of a man accused of murdering Tupac Shakur began August 17th, and with nearly 30 years between the rapper's death and the case finally going to court, possible answers and what exactly happened have been a long time coming. On September 7, 1996, Tupac was gunned down in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas. And for nearly 3 decades, both fans and the rapper's family have waited for some kind of closure. Now 63-year-old Dwayne Davis, nicknamed Keefe D, is the first and only person ever charged in connection with the 1996 crime. He has pleaded not guilty to 1 count of murder with a deadly weapon with the intent to promote, further, or assist a criminal gang, per the Associated Press. So who is the man on trial in this mysterious and infamous case? According to CNN, he published a tell-all memoir, Compton Street Legend, in 2019, in which he gave a play-by-play account of his plan to confront Tupac and Death Row Records CEO Marion Suge Knight in retaliation for an earlier fight. CNN reports that Davis wrote he got a gun, hopped in a Cadillac with 3 others, and drove around looking for the pair. They spotted Tupac in a car and then pulled up next to it. He wrote, "No words exchanged. The time for talking had passed. The shit was about to go down." Per CNN, prosecutors are using the book as key evidence in the case and say Davis was the, quote, shot caller of the group that fatally shot Tupac. Davis is also the only person among them that is still alive. Since his arrest, Davis has said his prior statements were false and just an attempt to sell books, and he has blamed his co-author for inserting false information, per CNN. On the night of the shooting, Tupac was shot multiple times after a white Cadillac pulled up beside him and Suge, who were in a black BMW. The rapper died 6 days later, while Knight survived.
As soon as Keefe D started talking and his name got tied to Tupac's murder, he started pointing fingers right at Diddy, claiming Puffy actually paid him to do it. And Diddy? Oh, he denied that story every way he could. But now, Puffy is already sitting in enough trouble. And with Keefe D's case moving forward, his name is getting dangerously close to that courtroom. Dear, this is not the time you want people digging through 30-year-old receipts.
In these interviews with investigators, Davis says Combs solicited a hit on his rival record label owner Suge Knight of Death Row Records, which Tupac was signed to. Combs has repeatedly denied any involvement in Tupac's death and has never been named a suspect. The jury also looked at clips from a docu-series that aired on BET.
Who shot Tupac?
The Keeper for the code of the streets. It just came from the backseat, bro.
As that soundbite is played, Davis watches with intensity. And look at Davis's reaction as prosecutors ask this of the filmmaker.
Was your show scripted at all?
No, and I pride myself in making sure that my work meets the strictest journalistic standards.
So you see Davis there kind of shaking his head like, yes, it was scripted. Now, Davis maintains that he was not even in Vegas the night Tupac was shot. That's his story now. He's pled not guilty. As for his nephew, Orlando Anderson, he died in an unrelated gang shootout 2 years after Tupac was killed. Sean Combs right now is behind bars in New York State for an unrelated charge. The trial continues next week on Monday.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
And now Gene Deal is saying they might want him on the stand too. Oh, everybody's getting an invitation to this courtroom. Gene says they want him to testify about Diddy, especially about what he knows regarding Eric Von Zip Martin being in Las Vegas around the time Tupac was killed. And that name matters, because Von Zip has been mentioned in connection with Keefe D's old allegations about the supposed $1 million payment. So now Gene's name is being pulled into the conversation, the old Vegas connections are getting dusted off, and he's openly talking about whether he might testify. Baby, 1996 is calling, and apparently it wants everybody back.
But I know it was Zip, Lil Daddy, and his son, and there was some other people. They went one way while Keefe D was supposed to go and talk to Suge and Tupac and them about, because they heard Orlando had got jumped in the whole 9 yards.
And you know for a fact that Von Zip, he was with Keefe D in Vegas.
I know what I was told You know what I'm saying? That night. Do you hear me? I was only told that night, bro. That same night, I was told that. And then when they came back from Vegas, they told us the story. So I can only go by what I was told. You know what I'm saying? And that was it. And the whole thing about it is, I said it way back then. I ain't said when this trial came up. I ain't said it 10 years ago. I ain't said 15 years ago. I said it over 20 plus years ago. And people was looking at me like I was stupid. Oh, yo, he lying, he this, he that. And then when it came out, even when Suge said somebody ran up to the car, I said, yo, I said that. Then Suge ended up saying it.
What did Suge say?
Suge said that somebody had ran up on the car that wasn't supposed to be up on the car. That's why they would want me to come testify. Because they want to put an association with Keefe D and Diddy. And what they wanted Diddy at that time for is to, if Diddy be the scapegoat, you understand? Diddy would be their scapegoat, or why there was such thing called the East Coast, West Coast War. Because if he had Tupac, if he put up the money for Tupac to be killed, then it's easier for them to say they're gangbangers, and it's easier for them to say that somebody associated with Death Row killed Biggie. You understand what I'm saying? So now we got to keep this going. So we got to use Keefe D and his association with Diddy, Papa Diddy Pop, Brother Love, Puff, whatever his name is. We got to keep their association going along with each other. So that's why he was saying that they wanted Diddy. Because Miss Wallace had that $400 million lawsuit against the LAPD. So they wanted to implicate Diddy in that whole stuff with Keefe D so they can get out of that whole situation of that lawsuit.
And this is exactly why Gene bringing up Von Zip caught my attention, because Keefe D has been telling a very specific story about that man for years. According to Keefe, there was allegedly $1 million from Diddy involved, and Von Zip was supposedly the man sitting right in the middle of that money situation. And Keefe didn't stop at "I heard." Oh no, he even claimed the FBI confirmed the story. Now, whether that holds up is another question entirely, but before we start judging, listen to Keefe tell it himself.
Well, in fact, you know, there was the rumor that after Pac got killed, Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping it. And I remember when I interviewed TK Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point. They were that close. He actually said, yeah.
The Fed said that too.
He said that shit actually happened. Well, the story that has circulated was that after Tupac got killed, Puffy allegedly gave the money to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give the money to Keefe and them.
Yes.
But he never gave the money to
But
him.
thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire. So thank God. If this is a true story, I'm not saying yes or no, but if he would have gave them the money, it'd have been for hire and Puffy would be locked up.
The FBI said he's a dirty motherfucker.
Yeah, and he even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to that shit. Or else it would have been like a murder or something, you know what I'm saying?
The FBI said it was just Zip.
So the FBI told you the
said he
same
was a
thing.
dirty motherfucker. Yeah.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well.
They said Zip's a dirty motherfucker. Everybody cross you. You're the last one to know everything. Even lawyers, your friends, everybody can cross your ass.
You just don't know. Even the dudes you was riding in the car with every day, like a low jack. Like, what the f?
Well, I mean, like I said, Zip had a history of ripping people off.
Yeah. He never ripped me off.
Well,
otherwise he wouldn't have.
Did he technically do? I mean, if he kept the money that
Yeah.
supposedly.
True.
So actually, he ripped you off for $1 million.
Yeah. If that's what happened, yeah. They sure said it. The FBI said that. The people down, yeah. U.S.
crazy.
attorneys, all that. They said that. Zip's a piece. They said he's a piece of shit. But I didn't ever know that he got no money. But they said he got it.
Yeah. Well,
Gene Deal said he got it too.
Oh, really?
Kirkland. Yeah, everybody.
Okay.
And Keefe D isn't the only one side-eyeing how this case is coming together. Brian Glaze Gibbs thinks Keefe's own mouth may have helped put him in this mess, but he's also questioning whether prosecutors are turning Keefe into the perfect scapegoat just to finally put a bow on Tupac's career after 30 years. And once Orlando Anderson, that MGM Grand fight, Mob James, and all that old death row drama start getting dragged back out, honey, suddenly 1996 has a full guest list again.
You know what, Vlad? Desperate people do desperate things. So even right now, I listened to him on the interview when he did with you, and I listened to him in his own words. The difference is with Keefe D, what he did was, and I'm speaking about, I'm not a criminal no more. I'm a dinosaur. So I'm not a criminal no more. But basically what he's saying as doing an interview, what he did, he had a driver. He had his nephew, Orlando Anderson, and he had somebody else in the back. And Keefe D, in his own words, say that he took the gun and he passed him the gun. Despite all three of those guys is dead, Keefe D put himself accessory to what? Murder. Now, when you sit back and look at it, okay, to me, had Orlando Anderson still be alive, and right now, no jury get to see what happened at MGM back in September 1996. If you saw what happened to him when Tupac, it seemed like Tupac, those guys came to Tupac. This is the guy that robbed us at California at the mall and took our death row chain. And Tupac seemed like he took the whole entourage and everybody that was in MGM, and they stomped Orlando Anderson out. So to me, if Orlando Anderson was still on trial and he was still alive on trial, they would probably gave him a little bit more sympathy than they're gonna give Keefe D.
Okay, how do you think this trial will end?
Honestly speaking, I always root for the underdog, and Keefe D is the underdog. At this present time, we are the same age. I don't want him to die in jail, and I think what he did was he ran out of money and he told that book. He had immunity. I think he's gonna get screwed. I think right now is Keefe D is gonna be the scapegoat for Tupac and give Vegas closure.
Well, Keefe actually turned down a 10 to 25 year plea deal, and he's 63 years old.
Yeah, 63,
so
73 years old. So once again,
minimum, right? It could be 90 years old almost. Right? You're 88 years old if you get the 25.
And Crip Mac? Oh, he has zero sympathy for Keefe D. According to him, Keefe basically talked himself straight into this case by doing interview after interview, chasing attention and putting other people's names into the story. And while there's talk of a possible plea deal, Crip Mac is looking at the whole thing like, sir, you spent years telling everybody the business, and now you're surprised there's paperwork? Take a listen.
He f***ed himself. Told on himself. Wanted clout. Thought he was whore. Fuck her. Make butt.
Why do you think he did it?
Try to get some views and clout. It didn't work.
If you got a body back in the day and you got away with it, why would you go and do interviews about getting away with it?
I would never know. Yeah, no, he wasn't smart.
Well, he did cooperate. Now,
he did.
Is cooperating against a dead person considered cooperating? Because his nephew was dead at that point.
Telling is telling. It's in your paperwork.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He did tell. He also told on some other people along the way.
Well, yes.
That all came out.
No good piece of
Well, he's 63 years old.
I don't give a he's a piece of shit.
He had a 10 to 25 year plea deal. You think he should have taken it?
He's a piece of shit. I wouldn't give a what he does.
It just doesn't matter at all. Huh?
It don't matter.
Okay.
Don't look at Kel like no real crip.
Okay. Well, the trial's going on now. It's actually live streaming on the Vlad TV YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So you can watch it if you
I
want.
don't want to watch it. He's a piece of shit.
Okay. Well, there you
But I
have it.
know other people will watch it.
Are you a Tupac fan?
I love 5 Pac.
5 Pac.
To live and die in L.A. That's my lifestyle.
Okay. Is that your favorite song?
Love it. Can't get enough of it.
Is
And Lil
Tupac-
Homies. I love Lil Homies.
Yeah.
And then Mob James got on that stand, and guys, the temperature changed. During cross-examination, Keefe D's attorney started pressing him with questions, and James clearly wasn't loving where this was going. He basically said, "Hold on, you're trying to get me caught up while using my words to send Keefe to prison?" Things got heated enough that James eventually apologized for his behavior. But before the apology came the attitude, and that is the part I want you to see.
I was a part of that. And I was, no, because you asking something that's gonna hurt this dude. And okay, let me stop.
And once again, I want to emphasize.
When we got back to Compton,
Okay.
it was a war. People were getting hurt.
Okay.
People was being sought. People were looking for certain individuals from his neighborhood,
Okay.
as well they did mine.
Okay.
But Orlando, him, and certain other people were being sought because people wanted to kill them.
Sure. Were they the only ones that they wanted to?
I'm not the only one up in here. No, they weren't the only one. Okay. It's his neighborhood in particular.
Right.
But they were the main subjects of a court. It was in the middle, such as me.
So you're telling us that people back home somehow had some type of information that said that guy, as a bunch of other people, were involved in what?
In the murder of Tupac.
Okay, but my question to you.
Stop.
Can you focus on me for a second, sir?
Yeah, I will.
And I apologize. No, answer my question.
I'm not answering nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Okay, Mr. McDonald, focus for a second.
I am focused. Very.
Focus on this. My question to you is this. You didn't know what happened that night because you weren't there.
I was at 662.
Right. Do you know who that was there?
I know everybody that was there.
Okay. Like who?
And Keefe D himself got heated in court too, but this time it was about his family. Now imagine sitting through your own trial and suddenly hearing your family's addresses being played in front of the jury. Keefe D was not having it. He started pointing toward the prosecution, saying his family had already been dealing with threats and vandalism. Prosecutors basically looked at him like, please. You're upset because you're on trial for Tupac's.
Give me a sec. For the record, the jury. Maybe it's accident. Okay, yes. What's up?
They keep giving out my address. They broke in my house, vandalized my house, vandalized my wife's car. You know what I'm saying? Because they keep giving out our address. Now they gave out my sister's address. This stuff is wrong.
I've heard it's going on both ways. That there's concerns both ways.
They're wrong.
I've admonished them to talk to their witnesses and anyone they can communicate about these issues. Okay. So your attorney let me know what's going on.
I get beat up by the cops. The guy attacked me in here, sent me to prison. This is wrong, and it's mostly this guy.
For the record, you're pointing at Mr. DeJohn.
Yeah, for the record, I think he's indicating he's upset I'm prosecuting him for murder.
No, I'm not upset because you prosecute. You're endangering my family's life.
State, again, like we talked about at the bench, you're going to stay in communication with your witnesses about not doing any of that. Goes both ways. Mr. Stamps, you'll talk to your client about not communicating with witnesses as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. We'll be in recess. Thanks, everybody.
And just when you thought we had enough characters in this mess, here comes Suga Knight calling from prison. Because of course he has something to say. Suge is calling BS on the whole Tupac trial, and according to him, one of these witnesses got on that stand and is not telling the real story. Now listen, if anybody was close enough to this mess to have an opinion, it's the man who was literally sitting next to Tupac when he got shot.
Oh, first of all, my opinion, Tupac was the most incredible person you can have as a friend, as a brother, and still today, his morals. Number one, all these guys perjuring themselves on the oath. Number one, James never worked for me, never was head of security for me, and I can see he's a little bitter because Tupac put him on his pockets before. But the most important thing in this is that they're not coming in to get the truth. Everybody knows he's an FBI informant. Everybody knows he's a rat. So why we gotta act like he's gonna tell the truth? Don't Keefe and James.
So hold on, I just want, you're saying that James McDonald, the guy who testified, said that he worked for Death Row Records, talked about what he saw that night. You're saying he did not work for you at all?
No. Now, he might have been at the club hanging out trying to hustle people and not putting the guy down or nothing like that, but he's an informant. He didn't work for me. If he would worked for me, he would have had a Death Row chain. He would have had a ring. You would have seen him in pictures around us hanging out. No. One other thing is very important. It's time for a change. You have people who've been talking to me like Universal for doing a movie or documentary to get all the information from my side, because I am Death Row, to talk about Death Row. Now they want to do with Snoopy, which I'm going to sue the shit out of him, because you have a lawyer that David Kenner gave all my files to and gave it to him to use my stuff. So it's very important that people always, these guys at Universal who's trying to do these things at one-on-one, stop making people deal with street justice. We should be grown enough to deal with regular justice.
So wait, are you saying you're going to sue Universal or you're going to sue Snoop?
Well, Snoop is nobody, but I'm going to sue Universal for taking my personal stuff. That's like when you look at it, Harvey, how is it every company that's way worse than the Death Row catalog sells for $300 million, $400 million. They offer me $700 million, but then they go and get it for $25 million, the same people who did the default judgment against me?
Listen, I could keep digging into this mess all night, but unfortunately our video has a time limit, and Tupac's story clearly does not. So we're gonna have to leave it here, for now. Subscribe and stick with us, because trust me, we are not done digging. And leave your questions below. Tell me exactly what part of this story you want us to investigate next, whose story isn't adding up, whose name we need to dig into, all of it. Give me homework, I'm nosy. And before I go, there's one more thing you need to see. The actual BMW Tupac was riding in when he was shot is currently for sale for $1.75 million. Yes, you heard me correctly. Almost 30 years later, even the car has $1 million price tag. Hollywood may be messy, but capitalism never misses an appointment.